Hello and welcome to another episode of the Pig City Podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Zackery Ivey, and beside me is my longtime friend, my good pal, my good buddy. Nice little background change for him if you've been subscribing. If you haven't, go ahead and subscribe now so you don't have to worry about it when we get there. But that's long enough on the intro. Tell us your name.
What is up, boys? I am back. I'm glad to be here. And let me just tell you, it is great to talk about a division that gets me so conflicted. I literally couldn't tell you how the top three is going to finish. I can tell you the bottom team with confidence. But before we get into that, let me introduce myself. My name is Alexander Walker, and we have an episode for y'all that y'all are going to love. It's going to get everybody fired up, and I'm sure we're going to get hate because we're going to pick it wrong in a lot of y'all's eyes, because this whole division, your fans, y'all are diehards, and I love it. And because one of these teams, you got to be a diehard to even be a fan of the team. But that's enough of that.
Still have yet to introduce yourself.
I did.
Oh, I wasn't listening.
Hey,
sorry, that was a little throwback.
Jimmy, run it back. Show him.
So our pre-show meeting for this was a little scattered because I'll just let y'all in a little behind the scenes and then we'll hop right in. If we would have recorded this 2 weeks ago, I would have felt differently. And if we were recorded it last week, I would have felt differently. And if we recorded it yesterday, I probably would have felt somewhat differently just as far as the overall rankings. So don't get so caught up in who we have ranked 1 through 4. We know some of you are only going to see that clip and you won't even hear this part. So understand that. Please listen to the full length video. If you're coming here after seeing the clip to see what we say, my breakdown of the teams isn't going to change much. It's more just actual total wins. And again, a couple Mondays from now, not this next coming Monday, next week is East week, but a couple Mondays from now, we have our big playoff prediction pod the week of opening weekend, where that Thursday, the Philadelphia Eagles take on the Dallas Cowboys. So we'll be breaking all that down and much more. But Alexander, to finish up our intro here, how you feeling, man?
Dude, I'm feeling great. Feeling great. Coming off my kids' birthdays. I mean, I appreciate everybody that got them something. And it was just nice to get to, I always like, with my oldest, because my youngest is still too young, I take off her birthday and spend the day with her and stuff. So you get to have like a father-daughter. And it's the last year because she starts kindergarten and she's going to go to school. But that's when the father-son birthdays get to kick in for a little bit.
Counterpoint, she may not be in school on her birthday. It's going to be close. She's always going to be near the beginning of the year.
That's fair, but I've heard rumors they're going to move it up a week.
So we're not getting into that. So I just want to say, shouts out to you and your kids and being a good father, being a good dad. By reading some of the comments from our videos, I think some people would not realize that we are actually humans who have families. But hey, you know what? That's the price of the content game. So thank you so much. Just want to say this again, not to get all sentimental, because we can barely catch our breath once the season starts because we have great plans and we're going to be super committed to this. But thank you all. The likes, the comments, they really, really go so much further you can realize. TikTok's been going great. Instagram, we're slowly gaining following, getting a lot of views and comments, but YouTube, thank you for everybody listening to the full video. So that's all I wanted to say in my intro. Nothing about my personal life, as things are about to get a lot more busy for both of us with Monday night, Thursday night, Sunday night, throw in some Fridays, throw in some Saturdays later in the year. The NFL is king and it's about to dominate our lives. And I'm so thankful to have this time to spend with you, Alexander, as we watch games together. We always watch the Eagles games and most games on the weekends. And we also got to carve out time for this pod. So we're not going to have a lot of time to sit and show gratitude. So it looked like you had one more thing to say before we hop right into this.
I just want to say one more thing on where you were talking about Instagram. Instagram added this new thing where you can repost a post. And if you watch it on Instagram, you catch us on there, repost it. That pops it back up to the top of the feed and it lets your followers see what you're seeing. So we would really appreciate that. And it's an amazing thing that Instagram has added. That's a new feature.
Yeah, they actually added it just for us, I believe. But it's crazy. We've gotten some follows this week, Alexander. I was talking to our social team because, again, spoiler, we're not the only ones that have these accounts, obviously, because there's multiple platforms, blah, blah, blah. But there's some people that have followed us that we went to high school with that they don't even follow like my personal accounts and stuff. So it's kind of cool to see that happening. So shouts out to those people and shouts out to the NFC North. You will see in the title of this, it's going to be NFC North, the toughest division to predict, something along those sorts. So Alexander, Give us the breakdown of how last year ended up for this division, because
All
we got a
right.
lot to talk about.
Last year, you had the Chicago Bears at a whopping 5-12. Then we get into the top three, the three that made the playoffs, the three that literally made the Bears look like, what are you doing in this division? We're elite. And then you have the Green Bay Packers, who finished 11-6. And most divisions, that might be good enough to win it. But no, you had the Minnesota Vikings, who finished 14-3. And I know what you're thinking. They didn't win the division at 14-3, because trust me, I was as well. But no, you had the Detroit Lions, who finished at 15-2. What a great division, dude. Can they back it up? I think that's the big question.
So we're going to answer that, but the drama of the last week being deciding the potential 1 seed or 5 seed, hosting a home playoff game, getting a bye. Unfortunately for Detroit, it ended in heartbreak of losing to Washington on your home field, getting embarrassed in front of Eminem and everyone else in Detroit that actually believed in a team that's never won or probably ever will win anything. But the point is, it was a great year for them. I have a couple questions about each team I want to make sure I pose to you and then give my thoughts on. A lot of our pods are going to be kind of fantasy related for certain players. Here's the overarching theme for this. The Lions running backs, receivers, top guys, the Packers running back, there's playmakers all across this in fantasy, and we can get in that. But I think this one's going to be a little more football and division focused if I had to guess, just based on prepping and the questions I want to answer. So if you want our fantasy opinions on any of these players, we know this is draft season. You probably have already drafted in a couple leagues, if not more than that, and you've got several more left still, with opening week being 2 weeks from when this comes out, basically. So we are here for fantasy insight throughout the year as well, but I'm really excited to talk about the actual, football X's and O's and just matchups and scheme fits for. There's a lot of movement. We had coordinators switching teams in this league. We had quarterbacks on a 14-win team going somewhere completely different and going with a guy who hasn't yet played in the NFL. This division kind of has it all, and it starts with the Chicago, as you called them, Bears, I believe, but the Chicago Bears, who they have all the pieces, and if you believe in the quarterback, I think is the question. So talking football here, Alexander, is there any reason besides their quarterback, Caleb Williams, you don't believe in the Bears? Because they do add Ben Johnson, who has been the coordinator for the Lions for several years now, waited on a job, turned down jobs last year. He comes in, they still have playmakers on the outside. They have DJ Moore. They add Burden. They add Colston Loveland in the tight end room. DeAndre Swift, still a good running back. They have good players on defense as well. They don't have people waving to the fans, giving up Hail Marys this year probably. They were in a lot of games, but that doesn't make you a good team. What makes you a great team or a good team is winning close games. So I'm going to let you kind of go with this. I'm going to pass this off to you if you want to catch it. So, whoa. That was kind of cool. You got to go. You got the ball.
I know you said besides the quarterback, but at the end of the day, a quarterback's what helps move the ball down the field. And Caleb Williams, maybe I'm biased. As a Notre Dame fan, he went to USC. But the whole time he was there, I never really believed in the Caleb Williams hype. And then when he got drafted, truthfully, think Justin Fields didn't get his fair share. The stuff they've done since they've got Caleb Williams to add playmakers around him, they didn't do when they had Justin Fields. And I don't think it's a fair shakeout. And then you bring in this guy, and then like last year, he had all these same playmakers plus Keenan Allen. And we've seen what Keenan Allen could do before he went there. The dude was literally Justin Herbert's safety valve, the go-to guy, could just haul in catches. We know what DJ Moore can do. He's just a playmaker. You can use him so many which ways. DeAndre Swift, before he went there, he's with the Eagles. Before DeAndre Swift ever went to the Eagles and he was with the Lions, I love DeAndre Swift. I thought DeAndre Swift's elite. And last year, it's not all on Caleb Williams, in my opinion. These other pieces still didn't do their part. And you're telling me the only difference is they removed Keenan Allen, but then Cole Kmet, who towards the end of last year looked like a really great tight end. And then you drafted another tight end. But then at the receiver room, you added Luther Burden. to replace Keenan Allen. That's not an upgrade. I mean, what's the upgrade? That you get to put Rome in the lineup? But if Rome was that great and Keenan Allen was the problem, why are you not playing Rome anyways? Just because Keenan Allen's a veteran? I mean, if that's really how you operate as an organization, that you feel like you can't sit somebody because they're bringing your team down. But let's be real, it wasn't Keenan Allen. He wasn't the issue. It's not DJ Moore. He's not the issue. We know what he can do. The issue's Caleb Williams. And they're not going to admit that because it's only 2 years in. And I get it. I know what y'all are all thinking. This dude's just a Caleb Williams hater. I'm not. Caleb Williams is not elite. I don't think he'll ever be elite. He might maybe one day be 14th best quarterback in the NFL. And that's a big, big if. What, you got something you want to throw in there?
Yeah, I have a lot of commentary, and I'm trying to stay on track. So first of all, you said in one hand that it wasn't just Caleb Williams, but you ended it with saying Caleb Williams is the problem. So I'm kind of confused on where you stand on that because you were kind of saying other people didn't produce, but it's still his fault. But I'll answer that part. I think it is on Caleb Williams. I think that we've seen from the time, and again, admittedly, maybe you think I'm a hater as well, people, because I'm not just going to defend Caleb here. When Caleb was in Oklahoma, he comes in, Rattler gets hurt, and yeah, he broke my heart, and he did a little gesture that I'm not too fond of, but it's Oklahoma quarterback beating Texas. So, I was trying to be civil, but like you literally, now you want to make it hostile. You literally said, so it's really not Caleb Williams, it's everybody else. And then 30 seconds later, really it's just Caleb Williams. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about, obviously.
No, hang on.
No. I got to finish this. So my thing is the biggest difference has to be Caleb Williams. Now, the biggest advantage he has, you didn't even mention, and that's he has a new coach and a new play caller with Ben Johnson, who, if Caleb Williams is going to succeed, now you believe he's not going to regardless, but if he's going to succeed, Ben Johnson is going to give him the best chance to do so by, hey, run the plays, get the ball out quick, quit padding it, holding on to it, taking sack after sack after sack. Yes, his offensive line measured very poorly last year. Yes, they had injuries. Yes, they had close games. Yes, they found new ways to lose. He's so worried about making a mistake, he was scared to be great. And you see the highlight plays he has in college, and that's why, and I'm not as harsh against him as you are, but I didn't see this generational prospect. And if you guys don't remember, go back to when Caleb Williams was being drafted. It was a clear cut. He's number one no matter what. He's going to be. He had the same like things being said about him as like Andrew Luck coming out of college. Like he's a can't miss prospect. It wasn't like a debate where sometimes people believe or not. He was a clear cut, and that's why I will give you credit or slack, whatever way you want to look at it. You're not just randomly bringing up the word elite. People literally say like this guy's going to be elite. It's not even a conversation. But he played just no game flow last year. It's not like some of his numbers are fine, okay, good, whatever. But like his game flow, his game management was horrible. But a head coach and an offensive minded guy that is going to help more than anything. So I think if if Ben Johnson is going to help Caleb, this will be the year we see it. And that's a good thing for the Bears. They're going to find out this year. I'm not buying into the Caleb Williams stocks with all of that being said. I do think it's on him. It's on the quarterback. And that's why this notion that, like, we'll get to this next week, but, like, there's just great playmakers around them. They don't even have to be good. That's just not true. This is a clear example of, like, you can do whatever you want. Now, the DeAndre Swift thing, I think his team and offensive line maybe made him look a little better than he was, but he's not as bad as he seemed last year either. So I think the Bears are a decent team. I don't think they're horrible. But I know that's kind of, I'll throw it back to you. We're just going to keep doing this.
Yeah, I mean, the pieces are there to succeed. But you could argue the pieces were there last year. And then, yes, they brought in a new head coach. But are we really going to try to say that the only reason the Detroit Lions were any good is because they had Ben Johnson? I don't believe that. Detroit Lions literally live and breathe Dan Campbell. Do you really expect me to believe the Chicago Bears, they're all just going to buy in and live and breathe whatever personality that Ben Johnson is going to bring to this team?
Yes.
I just don't see that.
And I think you answered your own question by saying, like, no, it's not that. but it shows that you're saying the Detroit Lions are because of Dan Campbell. That's what I'm saying. It has to be influenced from the head coach, because what were the Bears last year? What was their identity? I have no clue. I don't know what they were doing. I mean, you look at some of the plays, you got 3 guys running deep routes. There's one underneath guy. Caleb doesn't want to check down to him. That's on him. But I don't even understand their play calls. It was a horrible setup. It was designed for him to succeed, but he couldn't because he played bad and horrible execution from the team, and they had no identity. The same thing you're saying about Detroit. Now, I guess it comes to, are you saying you don't really believe in Ben Johnson that much to be a good head coach?
No, I don't. I think Ben Johnson can be a good coach, but I think he's been put into a situation where the organization's basically like, it was the previous head coach's fault. So if you come in and it's not the answer, it's going to fall on you. It's not the people that's here. And I don't think that's fair to him, because the people that were here, regardless of the head coach, with the pieces they had, you should win more than 5 games. You drafted the previous year Rome Odunze, who, regardless of them not playing him enough, at the end of the day, if you're a good enough of a player, you should find your way on the field and get your time. And he just didn't. And then now he's expected to just step in and be the number 2. So are you telling me that what we saw to Rome in college was just, it was there, but then when he came to the NFL, it just wasn't for the first year, that he had to sit back and just learn? I mean, I get that's a possibility, but a lot of times with like receivers, it's there or it isn't there. And the fact that you couldn't carve out a role, that's like a question mark to me.
But again, that seems like you're saying it's not really on Caleb either. What I'm saying is, I think the infrastructure is there, and I think if Caleb Williams fails this year, Ben Johnson's still there, and he's going to find a quarterback. Now, he did choose to go to the Bears, but like, he didn't say, hey, I want to have Caleb Williams. He kind of did, but I think they are more likely to move on from Caleb Williams after this season than they are Ben Johnson. That's what my belief is, because the Bears don't make these big splash signings at head coach ever. Like, they just go with a steady guy, boring. Like, I mean, the last like what crazy hire was like John Fox, and like, is that really that extreme? Like, I seriously, they just don't do it. I don't know, man. They just seem like they're a weird franchise that is trying to change it. So I guess you don't really believe in most of what they have in general, where I think that if there's a problem, it's Caleb. So I guess we kind of both are low on them, though.
But just, I feel like this is enough on the Bears, so we'll give you a quick fantasy thing.
Yeah.
I'll call out a player. I'll tell you where they're getting drafted. You can, if you want, you can chant like, or you can say, yes, I like that spot. I don't like that spot. And then I can give mine real quick, and we can just run through it. We'll start with Caleb Williams. He's going currently as QB. You take it or not?
As your second quarterback, that's fine. I'm not, but I don't think it's bad.
Yeah, I'm not. That's too high for me.
Yeah,
but
hate
like I said, apparently I'm Caleb Williams hater. We'll hop to receiver. DJ Moore, wide receiver 21.
Love DJ Moore. Yeah, he'll get targeted early often. I mean, if he doesn't, then they're going to be terrible. So if you think the Bears are going to be even slightly good, draft DJ Moore.
Yeah, I love DJ Moore in that spot. And then I've heard rumors they're trying to work him in and get him involved in the run game as well, which to me, the athlete that he is, they should have been doing that to begin with. We saw how Carolina used him, and he had a lot of screens, wide receiver reverses, like he was involved doing that. And then he went there, and then it wasn't a thing. So maybe that is on the old coach.
Just get the ball in his hands.
Yes. Rome Odunze, wide receiver 34.
I mean, he's going middle of the 7th round. I'm okay with it I don't believe in the Bears enough to draft their second receiver, so no. But yeah. I think he's a good player.
I'm out on it as well, but again, that's just me, like you said. It's the second receiver. I don't believe in the Bears enough to do that. Their third receiver currently going is Luther Burden. He's going wide receiver 59. So, just my opinion, if you did believe in him and you're telling me I could get a guy that's down there and could have a role easily carved out, if he can make an impact and you're getting him that late, it may be worth a flyer.
Yeah, Ben Johnson's not having a third receiver be a part of the offense.
DeAndre Swift, wide receiver or running back 21.
No, I mean, I'll just tell this. You can tell you feel the rest. I don't want anybody else on this team.
Okay. For me, DeAndre Swift, running back 21, I'd be interested. really probably depends on how the board looks, but I'm not going to refuse it because at the end of the day, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but Swift, when he had those big moments with the Lions, Ben Johnson was there and he was a part of that. And I could be completely wrong, but I really feel like he was there when Swift was there.
I don't know if he was. I don't know if he was already there or not.
Okay. The other running backs, not really interested in. Then you switch to tight end, and you got Loveland going tight end 12 and Komet going tight end 34. And for me, I think if you go and get Loveland, even though you've got to see what Komet is, and he's had moments where he's looked really good, and you're bringing in Loveland, and I think Loveland's a great athlete. And if Caleb Williams is to do anything, I think Loveland's going to be a huge part of that. So if you're a huge believer in Caleb Williams or even believe that he's worth like quarterback 14 in fantasy, I think you got to take that risk on Loveland at tight end 12 because you wouldn't have to go for the top tier and you could get him near the bottom of a tight end 1 range, early tight end 2. And I think that could be a good deal.
I think both these tight ends are better football players than fantasy assets for me personally. And
Okay.
I mean, we have seen Ben Johnson, and he was definitely a part of drafting Loveland, to be fair. We've seen how he used Laporta early on. So if you have belief, I think he's the best chance to take at a position where he could be premium value. But I don't want to have to watch the Bears and like cheer for a guy, to be honest.
I agree. All right. Then we'll hop on down to their over-under. The line is set at 8.5. What you got?
I mean, I know you're clearly going under. This one is closer than I realized, or closer than I thought initially, but I'm going to go with the under. That's also rooted in the fact that I've taken a lot of overs in the NFC already, but I'm going under. I wish this line was different because I don't hate the Bears this year. I just dislike them.
I mean, I've already seen the stuff. Multiple people are saying Chicago Bears are winning this division this year. And let me
I've
tell
seen a
you
lot
what,
of
it's made
playoff
me
stuff.
really think long and hard about this line. And at the end of the day, I'm still taking the under. I don't believe in the Bears. Call me a hater. Put it on the board. I don't care. I'm out. Give me the under all day long.
Yeah, you are a hater. Let me ask you a question and we can move on. Again, there's a lot of Bears talk, but hey, it's getting close to football season. People care a little
The
more.
Bears.
Is Caleb Williams the starting quarterback week 1 next season?
Probably, but still wouldn't believe in him.
Well, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so you think either you're going to be wrong or he's just going to be decent enough? That's an interesting take from you, but all right, moving on.
I just think of him like I think of Trevor Lawrence. They're not like what they were hyped up to be, but they're going to do just enough to barely keep their job.
Who do you think has a better career, Trevor Lawrence or Caleb Williams?
I mean, situation-wise, or yeah, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
That was bad.
That's
was really bad.
I was on your side, so you did one little thing.
You would have to say Caleb Williams, in my opinion's in a better situation currently.
Sounds like you believe in.
I
Sounds
think
like
the
you believe in Caleb
Jags
Williams.
are making the right moves, and I love Brian Thomas. I think he's better than any receiver on the Bears, but I think the Jags still have to find a better running back. And trust me, as much as I like Swift, I don't think he's the answer either, but I think he's better than anything the Jags have. So currently I would lean Caleb versus Trevor, but long term, I think I still believe in Trevor's talent better than Caleb's. So yeah, I gave you a back and forth answer.
Yeah, and also I just wanted a simple answer as just a quick little thing, but just for the record, I do have the Jags finishing better than the Bears this year, so for what that's worth. All right, let's head to the next team. A lot of talking there. I mean, the Bears are a controversial team, to be fair, and so is the next team we're going to talk about, because as you get into them, Alexander, and it's the Green Bay Packers, if you had to just tell me just like, hey, how many games they win last year? Like 9 or 10, they were in the playoffs. They won 11 games, and it felt like they never got good footing. We know Jordan Love went out for a few games. LaFleur showed he can win with Malik Willis. They played a different style of football for a few games. That was really impressive, to be honest. I feel like it was kind of rising his stock, but also just like they value that. But then the Packers did the softest thing I've ever seen an NFL team do in my entire life. And that was there's a big debate around whether or not the tush push is a football play. We can debate that if you want to. But you know what's not a football play? What's not a football play or a football move is to say, we can't stop something, so we should ban it. We're too much of a coward to try to defend it because we opened our season losing to the Eagles and we ended our season losing to the Eagles, and we're little babies and we want to put a little vote together to try to ban a play from stopping a quarterback from getting a yard or two because your quarterback can't do it because he's too busy slipping and falling. That's what you call a coward.
All right, Packers. Jordan Love, me personally, I really like what I've seen out of him at quarterback. There is times where he just kind of gets a little wild. You know, it's like when your 2-year-old randomly gets a piece of chocolate or something, sneaks it from you, and they act like they're all fine and dandy, and then all of a sudden they randomly just want to start just jumping on the couch from couch to couch, and you're just like, whoa, what's going on here? That's what it's like when you watch Jordan Love play. It's like, okay, oh my gosh, he's looking so good, looking so. Whoa, what are you doing, dude? That's literally the Jordan. That's what I think of when I watch Jordan Love play. If he can calm down,
he's like trying to
would be
tame like
elite.
a tiger or something.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, come look, he's a great pet. Then, like, eventually he's just going to revert back to himself, trying to throw off platform, just throw it across his body, across the field, interception, pick six. And then the next drive just seemed normal. Yeah, I don't get it. It's weird. It's like he can't be tamed.
yes.
Now,
But
all the preseason reports are saying he's going to use his legs more this year. He's going to run more.
he's got to. He's got a hand injury already.
Non-throwing hand. But, dude, why? This is what I've been saying. I mean, I have him in Dynasty. Like, why does he need to run? He can run. Run! You don't have to get hit. Oh, it's too dangerous for the quarterback to get 1 yard. But now in the post, whatever, dude. The Packers are so soft. It's crazy, dude. Like, I guess that's why they wear cheese on their head, just so like that they don't get injuries. People think it's like decoration or Wisconsin or some kind of cheese thing going. No, it's so that their fans won't get head injuries during the game because they're too worried a bird might poop on their head and give them a concussion.
But Packers did one thing they have never done when they had the bad man himself. They went out and drafted a wide receiver early in a draft, and it blows my mind. But at the same time, I love it. They're buying in. They're finally doing something to support Jordan Love. Because there's one thing the Packers had that was their biggest issue last year. And it was you had too many receivers who are wide receiver twos trying to act like they're wide receiver ones. And it just doesn't work. And trust me, I love Jaden Reed. I believe in what he can do. But he can't go out there and be the number one with all the eyes on him. It just doesn't work for him. He's that little sneaky type cheese assassin that just like sneaks up, makes plays, and makes it happen. But then you went out and got Matthew Golden, who I think can be elite. And I love the fact that they have Matthew Golden on their team because I think he's going to be amazing. I think him and Jordan Love are going to have a great connection. And I can't wait to watch what they do. And I'm just fascinated. I'm ready to see what this team can do. And I love this team. And then, of course, they have Josh Jacobs coming back. And that's going to be great. And then there's a lot of people saying Tucker Kraft, he's going to have a breakout year. There's a lot of people buying in and believing in him. So they got the pieces on offense. I think they're going to put it together. Their defense, they just got to get a little bit better. But at the end of the day, it's still going to be a great thing.
Yeah, I'm actually, even though I gave my speech against the Packers, and I still cannot believe an actual team did that. Like, we can't, whatever. But if I'm just looking at the team, the only thing I don't know if I agree with you on, and I love Golden. I feel like almost every single snap of his in college. He's a great playmaker. Like, he doesn't have to get great separation. He's good at high pointing the ball. He can catch, contest it. I don't know if he should be your number one receiver on like a team that's going to really make it. But he's definitely the number one receiver on this roster ensemble because you have the combination of Dobbs, Reed, Wicks. I don't know if Christian Watson just got hurt because I said his name. But the point is, like, it's fine when you're trying to figure out that. I mean, opening game last year, we saw Jaden Reed take an end around reverse receiver, like, and just score. And it felt like they just didn't even use him like that the rest of the year. It was weird. Weird season from the Packers, but I like their talent. I think their defense is actually underrated. They're going to be, like, I mean, you see they're projected in the top probably 10 in most things. They're going to be a top 10 defense this year. I really like them. I like the way they're set up. I like everything about this Packers team, basically, except for that they literally were the team that proposed to ban a play that they couldn't stop. So I'll go ahead and transition to the next part, Alexander. I know you're taking care of some stuff on your end. Jacobs, no problem drafting where he's going. He's great. Yeah, I'm not getting any other receivers there. If you can get Golden, get him. But I don't really want to draft any other guys because you're just playing them as like a high upside, but I don't trust any of them to be consistent enough. If you're playing best ball, sure, but yeah, I like Jordan Love, I like Josh Jacobs, I like Matthew Golden. The next team is the Minnesota Vikings, who, like we mentioned, 14-3 last year, an absolute elite defense. Most people still think they're going to be a top 5 defense, even on metrics, they're going to be top 5. So they decide, with Sam Darnold having a resurgent career, they decide, we're going to move on from you. We're not going to pay you the $30-some million for the next few years. We're going to go ahead and hand the keys over to the guy who was drafted the year before, who was supposed to be the starter. Don't forget, J.J. McCarthy was supposed to be the starter and got injured. It wasn't one of these, hey, we're going to draft him and make him wait a year, and he worked. Now, people believe in McCarthy's work ethic. People believe in his just football IQ, his regimen, his pregame little, I'm going to go sit down and cross my legs and do some kind of zoning in thing and put my feet on the ground, all this stuff. People believe in J.J. McCarthy as a football player. I do not. And so I'm stuck in this predicament of how much does that change how I view this team? Because, again, I think Kevin O'Connell, better head coach than Matt LaFleur, and I think Matt LaFleur is a good head football coach. So I just think that if he was willing to go to J.J. McCarthy, then I'm obviously more wrong than right because, I mean, Kevin O'Connell has forgot more about football than I'll ever learn. But I just can't see this Vikings team coming away with, I mean, yes, they lost 3 games, and they lost to their division. They lost when it mattered to the Lions. They lost just tough games, close, but they won so many insane games. You look at their receivers who haven't changed. Addison out a few games of suspension, but they have Justin Jefferson. And it doesn't matter if you got 1 guy, 2 guys, 3 guys, 4 guys. You're not stopping Justin Jefferson. And if you do, we saw Addison can score. He can score in mass capacity when needed. I do think Jordan Mason has a bigger role in the backfield with Aaron Jones. TJ Hawkinson, I think he goes back to the Detroit version of himself a little bit more this year. Coming over in a trade, obviously, a couple years back. I like their defense a lot. Their over-under is going to be tough, and I will go back to the Packers here in a second for the over-under once we talk about the Vikings, Alexander. I didn't forget. I just know you had some stuff going on in the background, but that's my full thoughts on the Vikings, so I'll throw it back over to you. And it's a team I really believe in with a young quarterback that I have not, so I'm really wrestling with, like, how much does that move them for me when I believe in their coach a ton?
Yeah, to me, you hit on it. I believe in their coach a lot, and I get it. Yes, they moved on from a quarterback that led them to 14-3. But when they drafted J.J. McCarthy, the whole thing was he's going to be the guy. And then you kept hearing in the background that even though Darnold was doing good, this was still their move. This is what they were going to do. And at the end of the day, it's just going to be J.J. McCarthy's team. And I get it. When he was at Michigan, there was a lot of stuff that you could say, is this really who they're believing in? Because Michigan, there was times where it didn't look like he would be a quarterback at the NFL level. But anything I've seen, the plays he's been making in all the practice, and I get what you're saying, it's practice. But he looks like he's going to be elite. And I think he's going to take the step, and he's going to, I'll go, you know what, put it on the record. He's going to have a better year than Sam Darnold had last year. J.J. McCarthy, breakout year.
I don't think it's a breakout year if it's your first year, but
that's fair.
I think that's my thing is just, it's really not that I'm not even saying, like, while I don't have long-term trust in him, I'm more saying, like, it's his first year. Do I really think, like, there's a lot of learning that comes from your first year. Obviously, we saw Jaden Daniels, we saw CJ Stroud. So, like, we have a 2-year run now of rookie quarterbacks being great, but it's not always your first year. And so I just think the learning bumps is why I'm not going to have them in their division as high as maybe they could be. But I will say to the JJ McCarthy point, I cheer for a quarterback, shouts out Super Bowl champion behind me, that people criticize for not throwing a ton, but anytime he needed to make a pass in college, anytime the moment came, he came through. So like that matters to me. The clutch does matter. It wasn't like, oh, we need him to come through and he couldn't. And just because somebody doesn't do something doesn't mean they can't. I don't know what it is exactly. I think that just his first year struggles in the NFL. Now he will have the benefit of still being around the team for a full year that some don't. Think Ben Simmons. Maybe that's why I don't believe in him. Anyways, anything else you got on the Vikings as far as playmakers or other positions?
I mean, it kind of goes back to why I believe JJ McCarthy's going to be great. He has one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver in NFL that he's throwing to. Like, how can you be a bad quarterback when you have a guy that can just get wide open in double team coverage? Like, he just makes it look so easy at times. And I get it. He's going to be missing Jordan Addison for a couple games due to Jordan Addison just being a big dummy, just not being smart. But luckily, last year when Addison got hurt for a bit, they had a guy that they had step up, and it's Naylor. Naylor looked good when he stepped up. So you got to believe that even though he's wide receiver 3 in this offense, during the time that Addison's missing, Naylor's going to step up and he's going to do his part for this team. And then you have a healthy, fully back TJ Hawkinson, who, when he's healthy, he's an elite tight end. And it's just a safety valve, something he can go to and believe in. And then Aaron Jones, I get it. He's getting up there a little bit. But luckily, they brought in Jordan Mason, who I think can be amazing for this team. I just love everything the Vikings have done. They're still bringing back a top 5, if not top 3 defense that's going to be great. I get it. A lot of what they did last year was thanks to their defense being elite. But their defense didn't get worse. It's still there. The coach is still there. The main big change is quarterback. And if you're telling me I'm getting rid of a guy who before then, last year with this team was a nobody. Okay, I guess he wasn't a nobody because he was a high pick. He just didn't live up to the hype. And you're going to a guy who your head coach fully believes in. It was the guy he went out and drafted because he believed in. And he's turning the reins over to him. It to me, makes me believe this team's only going to be even better. And just real quick, before we go back to the Packers over-under, the Vikings over-under, it's set at 9.5. And I'll just get to it. I'm going over. They're going over 9.5. It's a simple thing for me, and it's going to be easy.
Yeah.
I'll let you do the Vikings, and then we can go back to the Packers real quick.
Well, and you mentioned it. The Vikings saying they're going to be even better is crazy. They're not winning 14 or 15 games this year. So, and that's what I'm saying where they take a step back. Where that over-under, they could hit the over and win 4 less games. So it's a good line. These people are good at what they do. 9.5 it's crazy for me to say I think the Vikings are only going to win 9 games because I think they're a better than average team. Do I really think 3 teams in this? Because, I mean, spoiler alert, I'm going to have the Packers ahead of the Vikings when we do our predictions at the end, unless I change my mind here in a second. I don't know, dude. It's really 9.5. I mean, that makes me feel a little better about how I feel about them because they're projected to be a 9-win football team. But rookie slumps, is it really? Are they going to win 5 less games than they did last year? They had a lot of close games. Sorry, I'm taking forever on this. If I go under, they're out of the playoff pod and I can't talk about it. I'm going under. I think they literally win 9 or 10 games. Sorry. So the Green Bay Packers, to go back a little, their line is 10.5, and I'll start that one out. I'm going with the over. I'm all in on the Packers. Although I think they could finish within like 1 or 2 games of the other 2 teams in this division that they're close with. But give me the over on the Packers at 10.5. Walker, what you got?
I haven't looked at the schedule, but 10.5. Last year, you pointed it out. It was a team that did not feel like they won 11 games, but they did. And so you're telling me they just got to do it again, and last year didn't even feel like they did it? Give me the over. That's what I'm saying. This division, I'm buying in, baby. I'm back buying in, besides the Bears. the Bears suck.
Yeah, well, and you also got to realize, for those of you at home that might be wondering why I was struggling so much with picking, because I'm also factoring in I can't just pick over on every team. And with the West, I went a little wild. I have 3 overs in that, so I had to balance out somewhere. So I really don't like going under on the Vikings. Although I think, all right, but I'll put it this way: I think it's more likely they win 8 games than it is I think they win 12. So and that's why I'm going under. So that's now, of course, yes, you mathematicians, they could win 10 or 11 and still have the over. But the point is, I'm going under on the Vikings. And now we get into our last team, who went 15-2, who, for the majority of the year, I think if you ask a random casual fan, hey, who do you think is going to win? Whether it be because they've never won. The Detroit Lions have never won a Super Bowl, never won a Super Bowl. They've never won a Super Bowl. Just want to make sure we're clear on that. Sorry, dude. I know I sound like a hater, but like all last year, we really were talking about the Lions were the team to beat. Nobody even mentioning the Eagles, and then suddenly they're a super team. Whatever. I wish we could have played them. We'd have beat them by 30. Regardless, the Lions' biggest fault, last year was 2 things. Number 1, their defense got depleted, and number 2, which is a huge reason for that, Aiden Hutchinson went out, and he was having an MVP like season before he went out, and his health is a huge, huge part of how I view this team overall. But last year felt like the year, based on just how the ebbs and flows of the season go. It felt like the year that if the Lions were going to make it to possibly win a Super Bowl, again, they've never won one, then that would have been the year. But they fall short. They let a rookie quarterback come into their home stadium and basically was unstoppable. I mean, the belief in Jaden Daniels before the Lions game was very large. And then the belief in Jaden Daniels after the Lions game has just went into the stratosphere, because they saw a rookie quarterback take down a team that was supposed to be having a NFC championship game at their house with the Eagles coming to town, and they couldn't take them down. They let Jaden Daniels walk over them. Jared Goff was turning the ball over. It was absolutely a pathetic way to end such a great historic season. But if you're writing the movie, that's what happens. They lose the year they're supposed to win, and then the next year they win it all. So I think the Lions are going to get a lot of love. Although I've been seeing people fading them just a little, just because they do have a tougher schedule, and winning 15 games is crazy. But luckily their line has moved down from 11.5 to 10.5 at the time of this recording. So we're going to go on the 10.5 line, but across the board, thumbs up if you're good, by the way. I can throw it back to you. But Jared Goff, I think he's a solid quarterback. My co-host here, Alexander, believes in Goff more than I do as far as just a pro. I think he's a great dude and player, but I just think as a quarterback, he is great for the system he's in. I don't think he adds or necessarily takes away from what he did last year. I think last year's the best version we'll see of Goff, so it's hard for me to think he gets better, but he doesn't have to be better. I mean, they won 15 games. He could have the same year. St. Brown is a true number 1 in this league. Watching the stuff with him and his brother and dad is crazy. I thought my dad was harsh, but I guess that's why I'm not in the NFL. It's the only reason. Jameson Williams, everyone, mother, brother, father, sister, cousin, is saying Jameson Williams is going to have a breakout this year, and count me in that boat. I think he's going to explode this year. First year, I've really been all in on Jameson Williams. As long as he doesn't do anything like Jordan Addison talking and stays healthy and on the field, he's so electric. And, they lost Ben Johnson. So how is Gibbs and Montgomery going to be used? Well, their offensive coordinator has been with the staff the whole time. I've heard coaches talk about how he's been a part of the system, and it's going to be a little different. I think they're going to be a little more, I don't know if linear is the right word, but not stale, but they're not going to be as eccentric with some of their play calls early on in the year, is my guess, because I don't think they want people to think, oh, we're throwing passes to our offensive linemen. We're doing receiver reverses to the fullback up the middle. I think they're going to play more basic football to begin with, just because they don't have that familiarity with the play calling and relaying and all those things that, they're not really going to get in the preseason either. So they got to work that out for a little bit. But I still think the Lions are a very good football team. Laporta projected to have a bounce back year from a very lackluster second year last year. It really comes down to me as far as this is clearly a playoff team to me, unless they underperform. It comes down to me the health of Aiden Hutchinson and that defense, which just no one wanted to notice last year. But they had some holes, but whenever they're playing well, they're one of the top teams in the NFC. And I don't have a problem drafting anybody on this offense in fantasy. I don't have a problem starting them every week. Maybe not Montgomery, I'm out on him, but the rest of the team, put them in your lineup, let them ride. If you're watching Lions games, it's going to be fun. They have big plays. That's why they're a fun team to watch. Spoiler alert, the public likes teams that make big plays. They don't like teams that make it boring. And so I really like the Lions, but I think I'm probably going to personally talk more about them overall on our playoff pod, because the question for the Lions to me is not can this team make the playoffs? It's can they repeat the division and can they make a run in the playoffs? So, you good?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you kind of touched on it. I believe in Jared Goff. I love what he can do. I think he is, yes, I guess you would argue, not elite. I don't think he'll ever be one of those that you're talking a top 5 quarterback. But he's not mediocre either. Like, he knows what's being asked of him. He goes out there, he executes it, makes sure it happens, and he's just a leader. He knows exactly where the correct read is. He knows exactly what he's supposed to do in this situation. He's just not what we consider elite these days, which unfortunately is kind of where quarterback position has went, where you got to be a game changer at times. You got to be able to go out there and run with the ball in your hands. To me, that's what kind of, in a way, makes Joe Burrow, who, if you didn't watch the last one, you need to go watch it. But that's what kind of impresses with Joe Burrow, that he's in the talks of being elite, and he's not out there being able to game change it with his feet. It's just his arms that elite. But with Goff, he's very smart and knows exactly what to do. And then St. Brown, who he's just a wide receiver one. He's an amazing wide receiver. He knows how to get open. You know, if you throw it to him, he's coming down with it. And the biggest knock, I would say, with the Lions is, and it's not that they don't have a wide receiver too, because I think Jameson Williams is good. It's just he can't do everything. So then
Gibbs.
if you take him out of the game and then let's say Laporte is hurt, then the defense is able just to key in on St. Brown. And it can kind of cause them issues. But luckily, St. Brown is good enough that it doesn't really hurt them that much. But in the playoffs, that could be an issue. And I feel like they didn't address that. They didn't go out and get another receiver to throw in the mix. But if that's really what I'm trying to poke the balloon with a needle, and I wouldn't even call it a needle. It's like me having a balloon and I pick up a piece of paper, would pop it. Q-tip. You know, you really have to keep hitting it pretty hard and hold it steady to pop it. You can't just throw it at it and it's going to pop it. And you go to the running backs, and I get it. In the past, if any of y'all know anything about me, I've never really been a David Montgomery believer. But since he's went with the Lions, he's proved me wrong. He's a grinder. He will fight for those extra yards. He's a bulldog between the trenches. And then they went out and got Gibbs, who, to me, Gibbs is one of the most fun running backs to watch play. I love watching the Lions just to watch Gibbs. The dude's electric. It's so fun watching him play football. And I think this year, there's a good chance we see more at Gibbs, whether it be in the passing game or getting some more run looks. Because there's times where he kind of doesn't get the amount of love he should in the run game. Like,
Yeah, they like to give them series, like to keep them
Yeah.
fresh and all. I think that changes a little with the Montgomery injury. Clean up one thing. I know you're not a huge believer. They do add Tim Patrick, and there is a lot of belief in this young kid, Tesla. But Tim Patrick, some people think, is that missing piece. Just to clarify on that one, I know we talked about it a little bit before, but I think that's their hope, though, is just, hey, we had a great team last year. We're going to shore up the defense a little, get healthier. But they believe like they were good enough last year and they just had bad luck. So, I think they could have been a little more aggressive, but like at the same time, it's impressive what they did with the Stafford trade, and they've made this team a true contender. I do want to say this. I forgot to say this. I want to make it very clear, as much as you may hear me say things throughout the year about Dan Campbell, it's nothing against him. I want to give him respect really quickly. We think of the Detroit Lions as a good football team. That's not been the case in a very, very long time, and he's made that change, and I think he is the number one reason for it. That's why I think coaching still very much matters, because the team takes the identity of them. So throughout the year, you'll hear me make little comments because he gets no hate for the same thing other coaches may or may not do that get hate for. But I'll just leave that there, and you can finish up on the Lions as we. This is a fun team, though. This is a good division for football, and that's why we're so excited and maybe talked a little more than usual. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah. Outside of that, you go to tight end and you have Sam Laporta. And I love Sam Laporta. I think he's great. I was very disappointed in last year. He underperformed. That sophomore slump hit him. Some people can miss out on it, but it hit him. But as you can see with their record, it didn't really hurt him. So if he gets back to what he was that rookie year, sky's the ceiling, as they would say.
I mean, that's a new one. But they seem like they want Gibbs to be more involved in the passing game, which on one hand is exciting, like if you think about McCaffrey in the Panthers days, but also like, I don't know, man, like I don't want Gibbs getting hurt, and I don't want to be like scared to play a guy, but yeah, good. Sorry.
And then their defense is an elite defense, and you just have to.
You're saying their defense will be an elite defense?
Their defense is going to be an elite defense. I still believe in their defense.
Wow.
I think it's an elite defense just because of the pressure they can get. And it just comes down to Aiden Hutchinson. We've seen it over the years with the Steelers, and TJ Watt literally can just be the main key driving force. And because he's such a disruptor, that he can make things happen. And I think Aiden Hutchinson can be that exact person for the Lions. And it's going to be a fun, fascinating team to watch. And I think the division in itself is going to be fun and fascinating to watch. But
I think he can be that big of a playmaker. But I think if you take Hutchinson off the Lions and you take Watt off the Steelers defense is way better than the Lions. But a lot of people are starting to buy into the Lions more and more. I just am not there. I understand injuries are a real thing, and obviously that's a huge factor. But to me, it's just like they could barely stop a runny nose. And fortunately for them, their offense could produce enough to win and score them enough points to win. But like, that's not really sustainable. And it's crazy to think that my whole vision as we get to the over-unders here in a second of this team relies on one person. But like, he may be the most influential defensive player on any team we've discussed so far, or we'll discuss next week, for how I view their team overall. Now, that's crazy to say, but like, he's that important to me because he's that good. If you're bored and you want to watch something before the season starts, go watch 2025 Aiden Hutchinson highlights. He literally would have been in the top 5 MVP votes last year if he continued doing what he was doing as a defensive end. Like, he's a game wrecker, a game changer, and to me, he's the difference maker. So I'll throw back to Walker here in a second when he can for his final breakdown of the Lions before we get into the over-under. Sorry on this one, y'all. If I rambled a little, he's got some chaos going on.
The over and under for me, we'll just jump right to it because I kind of touched on everything I needed to say about the Lions. The over-under line is 10.5. And if you can't tell, Vegas doesn't know what to do with this division. You got an 8.5, a 9.5, a 10.5, another 10.5. And with that, I'm going over again. Yes, I get it. I went over on 3 teams. They had 3 represent last year. They're going to have 3 represent in the playoffs again this year.
My gosh.
Book it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that bold that you went over on the Lions, but yeah, just looking back, I really was thinking like maybe he's lower. I am going to go with the over as well. I have tampered my expectations for 15 wins, but all I got to do is get 11 to get the over. So we'll dissect them a little more in our playoff pod. But before we wrap this up, and again, apologies if there was little noises or you felt like I was rambling some points with Alexander. Listen, it was his kid's birthday week, so if you got a problem with it, get over it. It's great teams to discuss and talk about. Let us know your rankings. We've been getting a lot of comments, whether it be through TikTok, YouTube, messages, whatever. We love them. What I don't love is you just saying we have a terrible opinion without saying what yours is. So put your predictions with your comments. It does no good just to say, oh, that's trash, that's terrible. And then at the end of the year, like, see, I told you. If you don't want to put yours up there, how can you criticize ours? But all that to say, Alexander, take us to the picks.
All right. For the NFC North in 2025, in 4th place have the Bears. let's be honest, they were never in consideration in the top 3 for me. But jumping to number 3 in the division for me, I have the Green Bay Packers. In second place in the division, I have the Detroit Lions. I'm doing it. Minnesota Vikings are winning this division. I'm buying in. I'm all in. I love this team. I'm a JJ McCarthy believer. Put it down. Minnesota Vikings are winning the NFC North this year.
That was genuine shock for me. That wasn't acting. That wasn't for the clip. Not saying we'd never do that. But, like, I mean, I had 2 things I was deciding between, and they're not what you picked at all. Yeah, I guess I'll just do my picks. I mean, at this point, I kind of hate that I've talked this much because I could just clip them together. That might just have to be a standalone pick. That might have to be a standalone clip because I may just not even release mine for this. I might just put mine up on the screen. So just remind myself when I edit this to do that because I really wish I just went with my picks now. All right. I was only deciding, when you hear my picks, just know I was literally just deciding 4th and 3rd and 1st and 2nd, just to be clear. 2025, NFC North, 4th place, Chicago Bears. 3rd place, Minnesota Vikings. 2nd place, Detroit Lions. 1st place, Green Bay Packers.
Oh my gosh, Lions aren't winning it, boys. We got them number 2. We're just wrong. One of us is wrong on
They
number 1.
probably are
but
winning
Detroit
it now.
Lions are going to finish 2nd.
Now it makes me feel like they are going to win it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Alexander, we're going to end this pod the same way we always do. I'm going to give you the last 30 seconds to a minute to discuss anything near and dear to your heart, whether it be about football or not. And I cannot respond, speak, or say anything at all. I'm going to throw it over to you. Go ahead.
Those skulls. All right. We hogging off, piglets.